Narcissism is a complex and often misunderstood psychological condition. When we talk or think of narcissists, a common image that springs into mind is that of a grandiose, over-self-centered individual who craves attention and admiration. However, narcissism manifests in diverse ways, one of which is the covert narcissist, particularly intriguing and disturbing is the behavior of female covert narcissists who hurt pets as a means of inflicting emotional pain on their victims. This unsettling phenomenon warrants a closer look to understand why it happens and what it reveals about the nature of covert narcissism. Before diving into why female covert narcissists might target pets, it's essential to understand what covert narcissism entails. Unlike their overt counterpartner, who openly demand admiration and display arrogance, covert narcissists are more sly at it and incognito. They often present themselves as shy, vulnerable, or misunderstood, using these traits to manipulate and control others. Their need for validation remains, but they employ more covert tactics, more sneaky tactics, such as passive aggressiveness, emotional withholding, guilt tripping, and silent treatments. I've had all of those. Not fun. Definitely not fun. Female covert narcissists, in particular, may use social role traditionally associated with feminine, being really girly, like caretaking, empathy, and warmth as a mask to control their manipulation. They often create a facade of being nurturing and kind, which makes the emotional manipulation all the more devastating when it emerges. Pets hold a unique place in human households and hearts. There's my baby boy. For many, they're not just animals, but beloved family members and symbols of unconditional love and loyalty. That's definitely with me. Nazca's everything to me. He alerts me for my seizures, everything. This deep bond makes pets profoundly significant emotional anchors. And it is the precise thing that signifies that covert narcissists want to exploit and take advantage of. Because they are so... I know one time someone attacked Nazca because I wasn't reacting the way they wanted to, and that provoked the reaction they wanted to. Pretty sad. Covert narcissists are fundamentally control freaks. Their prime aim is to manipulate their environment and the people around them to satisfy their fragile self-esteem. I'll say it again, it's super fragile. Hurting pets allows them to wield a potential emotional weapon. By harming or threatening an animal, they inflict real or potential suffering on someone whose emotional vulnerability is tied to that pet. For example, when a female covert narcissist harms a pet or appears indifferent to the pet's well-being, the victim experiences not just concern for the animal, but also intense psychological distress. This distress lowers the victim's emotional defense, making them more pliable to manipulation. The narcissist's goal is to destabilize the victim, creating dependence and confusion all around them. Doesn't matter where they're at. It could be even in the bathroom, switching the toilet paper from this spot to that spot. Unlike overt narcissists who might openly antagonize others, covert narcissists often cloak their cruelty in small actions and plausible deniability. The harm to pets may not always be obvious or direct. It might take the front of neglect, withholding food or medical care, or creating stressful environments for the animal. This covert cruelty is harder to prove and confront, thereby enhancing this therefore it's easy to manipulate and use this power. Victims are left uncertain about the true nature of what they witnessed. Was this intentionally cruelty, an accident, or mere oversight? This ambiguity, I can't pronounce that word, further traps the victim who doubts their perception of the world and questions their judgment. Narcissists crave admiration and often despise things that do not reflect their image or cannot boost their ego. That symbolize loyalty, unconditional affection, and vulnerability, qualities that narcissists might both crave and detest. Harming pets becomes a twisted way of rejecting or controlling these qualities in the environment. For a female covert narcissist, a pet might represent something beyond just an animal. I know for me that's true. It could embody innocence and truth in an otherwise deceptive I'm sorry, I don't know what just happened. The emotional trauma inflicted by a narcissist's abuse of pets is profound and lasting. Victims often report feelings of helplessness, guilt, and overwhelming sadness. Because pets cannot verbalize their suffering, the victim might feel an added layer of responsibility and sorrow. This emotional turmoil is exactly what the narcissist desires. It disarms the victim's ability to resist and retaliate. The victim's suffering is compounded by social isolation. Victims may hesitate to disclose the cruelty they observe or experience, fearing judgment or disbelief. Those around them might dismiss concerns, especially if the narcissist is adept at manipulating a social group. This isolation reinforces the narcissist's power. Why specifically female covert narcissists? So why did I choose to use female specifically? While narcissism is not confined to any gender, I'm not doing good with my speech today. Societal norms shape how it manifests. Cultural expectations often encourage women to be nurturing and compassionate. Female covert narcissists exploit these gender roles, making their actions even more devious and hurtful. Harming pets, a behavior historically associated with cruelty, clashes with the nurturing role women are expected to play. As a result, a female covert narcissist's cruelty towards pets can remain hidden and minimized by its contradiction of stereotypes. So like what we're supposed to be doing in society, it could just be like, that's not what women do, so it can't happen. This dynamic provides the narcissist with a cloak of invisibility for their manipulative actions. Recognizing the signs of covert narcissists and its manifestation, including the abuse of pets, is a first step towards protecting oneself and vulnerable animals. Awareness is critical because covert narcissistic abuse is often dismissed as misunderstanding or personality quirks. Like, she's just a grumpy old bird, or he's just a crusty old bat. No, that's not it. If you notice a pattern where a person, especially one close to you, seems indifferent or cruel towards a pet, this should raise red flags. It should definitely raise red flags. So I know that one thing my mom says, she goes, I look forward to coming home and kicking Maggie in the face. Maggie was her roommate's dog. Observe not just isolation incidents, but I'm going to start that sentence over. Actually, I'm not going to read that sentence. It doesn't make sense. Is there an emotional undertone of control or supporting victims is equally important. So do all of that. They need validation and help to extricate themselves from emotional toxic environments. Additionally, animal welfare organizations and mental health professionals should collaborate to address both the abuse of pets and the underlying psychological dynamic at play of these situations. I'm sorry, my speech. I'm pretty sure I'm having absent seizures during this little video. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. When I do, I actually do show my neurologist my clips because I'm alone a lot, and obviously Nazca can't be like, oh yeah, she had a seizure, blah 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 blah. All right, so like, let's finish up this video. The devastating phenomenon of female covert narcissists hurting pets to torture their victim reveals a chilling strategy of emotional manipulation. By targeting, I'm sorry, I didn't put my phone on airplane mode. By targeting what victims cherish most, covert narcissists tighten their grip, embedding control through intimidation and psychological pain. Understanding this behavior sheds light on the dark undercurrent of covert narcissism, where cruelty is masked by false, vulnerable, and victimhood. That doesn't even make sense. See, I don't even want to edit these videos because it helps me when I go back to read stuff. And I need to just put my phone on mute next time. Okay. Recognizing, confronting, and ultimately dismantling these destructive patterns require vigilance, compassion, and education. Pets, as a beloved companion and emotional lifeline, deserve protection not only from overt neglect, but also from the quiet, calculated harm inflicted by the covert narcissist's hand. Likewise, victims must be empowered by reclaiming their peace, free from the shadow cast by such secret cruelty. Only then can healing begin, for both human and animals they hold dear to them. I'm Danielle. This is my baby Nazca. He alerts me for my epileptic seizures. I don't know what I would do without him. Sorry for all the glitchiness in my speech. I'm Danielle. Share, like, let's subscribe, join the family. And I think my phone's getting blurry and not blurry. I'm so sorry about this video. Later.